Welcome to Tales of Honor, a podcast with a mission to tell the true stories of every recipient of our nation's highest military award, the Medal of Honor. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Tales of Honor podcast. This is episode number 562. I do have two birthdays to go over today. First up is today. It's October 26th, 1944. This birthday belongs to Mr. Gary Luttrell. Gary is a former U.S. Army Command Sergeant Major who earned the Medal of Honor for his actions during the Vietnam War. So a very happy 77th birthday to Mr. Luttrell today. Next up is actually going to be Friday. Yes, today's Wednesday, so Friday, October 28th, 1945. This birthday belongs to Mr. Alan Lynch, who is a former U.S. Army Sergeant that earned the Medal of Honor also for his actions during the Vietnam War. So a very happy 77th birthday to Mr. Lynch on Friday. That's all the birthdays I have for today. Before we get into today's episode is actually of a recipient that I had the pleasure of seeing some of his memorabilia up close and personal when I visited Chattanooga, Tennessee last year. If you actually head on over to the website, talesofhonorpodcast.com, you'll actually be able to read everything that I'm going to say in today's episode, and every episode, actually. Fun fact, if you didn't know that, there's a transcript for every single episode. But at the bottom, I try to add photos that I can find online, and I did find quite a few photos of him from the 40s, and also I included a couple pictures that I took down when I was at the National Medal of Honor Heritage Museum in Chattanooga to include his uniform, his actual Medal of Honor that's on display, and his gravestone at the Chattanooga National Cemetery. So go check that out, as well as every recipient that I have over on talesofhonorpodcast.com. That's all I have for today, so let's get right on into today's Tale of Honor. Charles was born in Signal Mountain, Tennessee on the 4th of August, 1921. Growing up near Chattanooga, he attended and graduated from Chattanooga High School in 1939 and went to work for his father's printing business as a bookbinder. Charles was drafted into the U.S. Army in June of 1942 at the age of 21, and he attended basic training at Fort McClellan, Alabama. After basic training, he was assigned to M Company, 3rd Battalion, 141st Infantry Regiment, 36th Infantry Division at Camp Butler, North Carolina, before deploying to Europe. Charles moved through Italy by way of Algeria and earned the Silver Star for his actions on the 31st of May, 1944. 5 months later, he was in France and once again displayed actions of gallantry, this time earning him the Medal of Honor. The citation reads, "Leading a section of heavy machine guns supported by one platoon of Company K, he took a position near Hill 623 east of Belmont-sur-Boutant, France, 24 October 1944, with the mission of covering the right flank of the 3rd Battalion and supporting its action. Technical Sergeant Coolidge went forward with a sergeant of Company K to reconnoiter positions for coordinating the fires of the light and heavy machine guns. They ran into an enemy force in the woods estimated to be an infantry company. Technical Sergeant Coolidge, attempting to bluff the Germans by a show of assurance and boldness, called upon them to surrender, whereupon the enemy opened fire. With his carbine, Technical Sergeant Coolidge wounded 2 of them. There being no officer present with the force, Technical Sergeant Coolidge at once assumed command. Many of the men were replacements recently arrived. This was their first experience under fire. Technical Sergeant Coolidge, unmindful of the enemy fire delivered at close range, walked along the position, calming and encouraging his men and directing their fire. The attack was thrown back. Through 24 and 26 October, the enemy launched repeated attacks against the position of this combat group, but each was repulsed due to Technical Sergeant Coolidge's able leadership. On 27 October, German infantry, supported by 2 tanks, made a determined attack on the position. The area was swept by enemy small arms, machine gun, and tank fire. Technical Sergeant Coolidge armed himself with a bazooka and advanced within 25 yards of the tanks. His bazooka failed to function, and he threw it aside. Securing all the hand grenades he could carry, he crawled forward and inflicted heavy casualties on the advancing enemy. Finally, it became apparent that the enemy, in greatly superior force, supported by tanks, would overrun the position. Technical Sergeant Coolidge, displaying great coolness and courage, directed and conducted an orderly withdrawal, being himself the last to leave the position. As a result, Technical Sergeant Coolidge's heroic and superior leadership The mission of his combat group was accomplished throughout 4 days of continuous fighting against numerically superior enemy troops in rain and cold and amid dense woods. Charles received the Medal of Honor from Major General Hayslip on the 18th of June, 1945, in a ceremony near Ulm, Germany. Returning home to the States, he married Frances in 1945, and the couple had 3 sons. Charles lived the rest of his life near Chattanooga and continued to work for the family business, Chattanooga Printing and Engraving. A highway and a park were named in his honor, and he received the Legion of Honor in 2006, as well as being inducted into the John Sevier chapter of the Sons of the American Revolution in 2015. Even though Charles suffered from multiple sclerosis the second half of his life, he remained active in the community and also was married to Frances for 64 years until her death in 2009. On the 6th of April, 2021, Charles Henry Coolidge Sr. died at the age of 99 years old. He was the last living recipient from the European theater of World War II and was the oldest living recipient at the time. He is buried with his wife in the Chattanooga National Cemetery in Chattanooga, Tennessee, Section BB, Site 474-A. And that was a Tale of Honor. Thank you for listening to Tales of Honor, and if you enjoyed the show, please be sure to subscribe and tell your friends and family. Tales of Honor is written and produced by Christoph Ambrosch, and theme music is Loyalty and Duty by Floruz Music. If you have any questions, you can send an email to talesofhonorpodcast@gmail.com, and please be sure to visit talesofhonorpodcast.com for more episodes and information.